Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful. You know who I am. If you don't, Joel Pearl. I'm here in Las Vegas. It's WrestleMania week, and it's not just the wrestling stars of today that you get to see. The future stars are here. The people we need to hear from. The people we want to know. And when I sent out a message saying, hey, if you're coming to WrestleMania week and you're going to be in Las Vegas, hit me up. This was one of the first people who did it. Her name's Lil Marz. She hails from the wonderful country continent of Australia. And I had to chat with you. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Wonderfully. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here in Las Vegas. Definitely a fun experience for me. We don't have stuff like this in Australia, so very cool.
So you've been here for how long now? Like not Vegas, but stateside in America.
In America, I've been staying in Los Angeles for about 2 months now, and I'll be here for another month. That's
crazy. And so far, has it been mostly training? Has it been kind of exploring? What has that experience been like?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. So I have been training a lot. That was kind of why I came here. I wanted to train. I wanted to get better and get more worldly experience, so to say. But I try and set some time aside for exploring. I've tried to go up to different, not necessarily different scenes, but different areas. So I'm based in LA, but I went up to San Francisco for a week. I went over to Boston for a little bit and trained over there, that sort of stuff.
I didn't realize you went to Boston.
Yeah, well, I last time I came here, I actually trained there. So yeah, I'm going to go there again. I went up there for a day or two. But yeah, just kind of dotting around different places, going places that I like, places that I have friends in wrestling.
And over the West Coast side, you were a West Coast pro doing some training there.
Yes.
And you found yourself in a showcase match.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I feel very lucky that happened. I think I went there with no expectations of getting on the show. I obviously went the week of a show because I wanted to see it and be a part of it. But yeah, so I trained there, I trained every day, I think. Maybe I didn't go one day of the week, but to my surprise, after a class, a match practice class with Levi. To my surprise, Scott told us on the Friday that he wanted us to do a match, and it was also Miko's very first match on a West Coast Pro main show. So it was really exciting for both of us, and we got to share that together, which was really cool.
So one of my favorite things is when a wrestler kind of starts their journey and they've done the training and it's their first show, Battle Royal. Tell me about your first show, and also the coming of age that is the first wrestler appearance in a Battle Royal.
Oh man, so I did debut in a Battle Royal. Well, it was a Rumble, but at my home promotion in Brisbane, Australia, it's not just a Rumble, it's a hardcore Rumble. Ooh. So every person gets to take in a weapon. I had all of these crazy ideas. I was like, I could take in Lego, I could take in this. I didn't take in anything. I was way too new and too scared. I was like, I know how to do a handful of moves. I don't even know what I would do. Like I said, I wanted to take Lego. That was a big one. I was like, yeah, I could throw someone in it. And I didn't know how to throw anyone. I knew how to do a handful of things. So it was really fun. It was really cool. And I think part of the reason, someone else might disagree. This is just my take on it. But I definitely think that part of the reason that is where a lot of people debut is because it's obviously a very small spot, kind of in and out, but also there's so many people in there to take care of you. It's really simple. You don't have to remember whole matches. You don't have to remember psychology. You just have to remember, I get in, a bunch of people are going to feed in for me and take my moves, and then I have to either punch someone on the corner until someone gets rid of me or someone just comes and grabs you straight away. So for me, it was I did my little spot. I made so many mistakes in my 10 seconds that I was wrestling. And then I got up for a crossbody, and one of the biggest guys on in our roster just caught me and threw me out. So my mum was in the crowd though. She texted me afterwards and was like, I was horrified. I was like, okay, Mum's not coming to my wrestling shows no more.
But you, in a past interview, you've mentioned your mum was involved in gymnastics?
Yes.
Were you also involved in the gymnastics? Did your mom push that with you, or what was that like?
Yeah. So my mom's a gymnastics coach. So some of my earliest memories of me and my mom is at work with her, rolling around in the gym. I used to try and help out with the classes, even though I was 4. And I have all of these funny memories of she did little kids classes and older kids classes. But with the little kids, she used to do this rolling. she had like a crash mat, and she would like roll them along the crash mat, and she would hold their hands, and she'd get their parent to hold their feet, and I used to like jump in and try and do the hands, but I was like too small. So yeah, I grew up in competitive sport, heavily gymnastics when I was really little, and then I kind of moved on to roller skating, which is really random, but it was something I was really passionate about for many, many years. And yeah, I think that definitely plays a role in like how I train and how I take care of my body, and I don't want to say my discipline. I feel like that feels really corny, but I definitely think like gymnastics is a disciplined sport. And I'm really thankful for the way that's impacted me now.
I'm surprised that your mom didn't get it, because wrestling is a bit of tumbling too, right?
It is. And see, this is the crazy thing, right? When I was a kid, like, I used to watch wrestling with her and my brother.
Okay.
And she still was like, I was horrified. Like, I was like, Mom, you know it's fake. I guess, like, from a mother, I try and put myself in her shoes, like, from a mother's perspective, maybe, like, seeing this big guy throw me over the top rope is a bit like, ugh, like, but I don't know. I think she was just instinct kicked in. And yeah, but yeah, she's definitely supportive. She just doesn't want to watch it.
Okay. I kind of get it. You know, you saw the photo. I'm a dad too.
Yes.
And I get a little nervous if the kid is, you know, doing something that I think might injure him. And we all think that our kids are like, or in your case, like your mom might think that you are this precious little glass doll that, I'm the same with my kid, and he's 3. You're not 3 though.
No, yeah. I think it's funny too, because like gymnastics is such a dangerous sport. Like I would say gymnastics is more dangerous than professional wrestling, because pro wrestling's controlled and we're taught how to land. We're taught how to hit people like meat to meat and like make it really, really safe. Where gymnasts, like, they run and they jump and they twist in the air like 5 times, and then they hope to God they don't break an ankle when they land. Like, the boards are like springy a little bit, but I think that's way more of an extreme sport than pro wrestling is.
I think I figured it out, and you are going to be the elder stateswoman of your home promotion. Okay, going back to the Battle Royal, the one thing you should have brought into the Battle Royal, a singular thumbtack, just one.
Just one. Why? Why one thumbtack?
Because people get really scared when there's like 1,000 or something.
Yep.
But if you got one, you can just use it at any time, and no one's gonna know when.
I love that.
You give them the fear of the moment. I won't say the fear of God. You talk about hokey. You just give them the fear of the moment. It could be me at any time.
Yep.
Scare them.
I love that. I think a nice callback to not taking something in the Rumble is I did actually buy 2 weapons. I bought like a box of Lego, and I bought a Nerf gun. I thought the Nerf gun was like, you know, like Lil Marz, like in her little world, she believes it's real, right? So I actually did the following year, when I was a little bit more experienced, take the Nerf gun into the Purge Rumble. But I got to use the Lego in a spot where it was like a retirement match for one of my friends, and I got to be a part of that, like bumping her into the Lego and swantoning her afterwards. So that was kind of cool, getting to pay off those 2 little things and get to use my weapons that I bought for my debut eventually.
So Lil Marz is your wrestling name.
Yes.
Your shoot name, as we would say, is Marz.
Yes, correct.
And is it short for anything?
Yeah, my name's Marzia,
Okay.
which is a Persian name.
Okay, I was going to joke and say Marzipan, but now I got the actual name.
No, I get that all the time. Marzipan, people like say it as like not a joke, but like that's kind of like if they're going to give me a name, it'll be Marzipan.
Right.
It works. Marzipan's sweet, tasty.
Could have been a gimmick.
Could have been a gimmick. I could have been like candy.
But instead, you are kind of childlike in a way in your gimmick.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen you perform in the ring, you used to, or at least at one point, you were coming to the ring in a little toy car.
Correct.
At one point, you had a little stuffed bear named Opie.
I did.
And from what I was reading, this was kind of harkening back to your childhood and the things that maybe you didn't have access to growing up.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think I've spoken about it before, but a big part of the character when I was sort of developing what I wanted her to be, like, I was literally, what happened was one day I was like, I've always wanted one of those toy Jeeps. And I was just having a little moment of like, I want a toy Jeep. I just wish that my mum, like, not that she didn't just deny me that, but I was like, I just wish I had a toy Jeep. And I was like, you know what? I can buy myself one. And you know what? I can ride it around too. And it's okay because that's what pro wrestling is, right? It's like escapism. It's like putting, like, some people want to play like karate characters. Some people want to play like sexy boys. And it's like, they're all the things that I think that really is what you may have wanted when you were younger, or you see yourself as like an alter ego of, and you get to like express that in the ring and be that. And I think that's really cool and special. So I just wanted to like explore that topic. And yeah, so the longer it went, like I started with the car, and I kind of was like, oh, like, you know, I loved wearing overalls, but I always felt like I couldn't wear overalls as an adult because I'm a grown adult with a big girl job. And so the gear it looked like overalls. And then the toy bear is like, I always wanted one of those giant toy bears, so I got one. It was really nice.
What happened to Opie?
This is actually really sad. I love Opie. When I decided that I was going to start traveling, I moved out of my little big girl apartment where I had Opie sitting on the bed, and I cuddle him every night. And so Opie's currently in a storage locker. I know, and all the time. So I stay with one of my oldest friends, and very often when I am home, I'm like, I could go get Opie for like a week, but then I'm like, no, then I just have to go and put it back, and like, it's a whole thing. But I think about him all the time. I think, I'm like, man, Opie's just sitting there with the toy Jeep. But one day, Opie will be back.
Some of your gear has been kind of Hot Wheels related in the past. Yes. Are you a car person?
Not a car person, but a Hot Wheels person.
A Hot Wheels person. Okay.
Yep.
What was your, I don't know, like what was the kind of Hot Wheels cars that you would like when you were growing up, or even now when you're like looking around a toy store?
Yeah, my favorite series, I don't know the names or anything, but there was a series of them where they were all shaped like food. And I've got them all. I still have them all in a box in the storage locker with Opie.
So you only put the valuables in the storage locker?
Literally, like this is a funny story actually. I got rid of like all of my my mattress, my bed frame, and it's literally a storage locker of like my toys and clothes. So when I'm home, I swap the clothes out. And then it's kind of like getting a wardrobe refresh every time I am home. Can pack it up, swap it around, and I never have to buy new clothes because it's like getting new clothes every time I go to my storage locker.
So you've been you have a background in the music industry and in marketing. What, as a musician, what I was doing before the world shut down 5 years ago when I started doing this for a living. Yep. What were you doing in music with marketing and everything like that? Yeah,
I think interesting question. So I lived a bit of a dual life, which is funny because I kind of still do. You
are a wrestler.
I am a wrestler. Literally, we just had that discussion. So I worked during the day in corporate marketing. It was early in my career at that point. And then on the weekends and at night, I worked sometimes I was a stage manager. Sometimes I managed events. Something I was really proud of was I worked for a little bit as a tour manager. Not for any big bands, but like bigger local bands, domestic tours. And it was something I'd always had to take time off my marketing job, which was very hard to juggle, but it was something that I really, really enjoyed doing. And especially because I got to do it on a local level. I wasn't working with like big superstars and like people. I was working with people I knew and people I cared for. So it was really nice.
Did touring and being in vans and all that, did that prep you for wrestling?
Yeah. 100%. I literally just today, like, I'm sharing a room here in Vegas with a couple of girls, and like I saw that the beds were like, I was like, oh, they're double beds, but they're like small, and I was like, I'll just like take the couch or the floor because I have slept on so many floors. Like, I have, been in so many long haul drives, been in cars full of sweaty men, which is, it's not unfortunately, it's like, it's a blessing and it's a gift to be able to do this, but it is like the reality of being a woman in wrestling too, is like you're often in the car with a bunch of smelly dudes. Well,
speaking of touring, You weren't always in the car with smelly dudes. You did find yourself in Japan at the end of last year. You were working with the Ice Ribbon promotion. Shout out to our contributor, Kate, loves Ice Ribbon. It's bad. Anyway. Tell me about Ice Ribbon, how you got involved with that, and also when you're an Aussie coming over to Japan, is that a little bit easier compared to say when our people in North America come over because of time difference, or what's the process like?
Yeah.
And obviously the experience of working with the promotion.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think kind of starting from the start how I ended up there, like I got to a point I love wrestling Australia. I think we've got some amazing talent, but I think that geographically it's really hard to pursue a full-time career as a wrestler. And I think a lot of the guys will eventually, they'll find a way, and there's a lot of people working to improve that. But as it stands currently, it's really hard to do that. So I sort of realized, I was like, I need to get out there. I need to get more worldly experience. I need to like find places where wrestling, you can wrestle every day of the week, and see if this is a viable idea for me. And so that's kind of where the idea of I'm going to pack my life up and quit my job and start traveling. That's how that started. And as that happened, I was talking to a friend who had come to the Philippines. I mean, he had come from the Philippines, to Brisbane. And I said to him, you know, starting really like broad, I was like, is there girl wrestling in the Philippines? Like, do you have women over there? Like, and he was like, yeah, we do, but there's like one girl. Like, is there anywhere else you want to go? I've traveled a lot. And I was like, shooting for the stars at this point. I was like, well, I'd love to go to Japan one day. And he was like, oh, I have a friend in Japan. And I was like, oh, like, do you? And he was like, yeah, I'll message her for you. So he put me in touch with a wrestler there, and I went through a bit of an interview process with them, and they kind of checked out who I was and if I fit for their, like, what they do and what they want when foreigners come. Then when I got there, I had to wrestle for the senpais and kind of get ticked off by them. And then finally I got to wrestle for them on my first tour. Just once on my first tour. On my second tour, I got to wrestle for them every week. But yeah, I think it was definitely, it was really exciting. It was my first ever international trip ever. Like, I'd never actually, because I did so much domestic travel, I never really had the time to have an international trip somewhere. And I think it was a big culture shock. But I think something that's really special about Japan that I don't think exists in any of the other scenes I've been to is that there's such a like culture of like foreigners are friends because they're all in this country, and then Japanese people also kind of like have that culture of like the foreigners being all friendly with each other. And so if you're someone who speaks English, or you're from like a Western country, you're automatically kind of part of the wolf pack, which I found really, really cool.
You mentioned some of the senpais you had to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the girls at Ice Ribbon are trained by people like Emi Sakura and Hikaru Shida. Yeah. Were you exposed to either of them or any of those people? Any of those names?
Not those ones, but when I was in Japan, I trained under Mio Shirai, which was very exciting. I remember when I first met her, I typed out on my phone, because she speaks very little English and I speak very little Japanese. I said, like, very famous, you're very famous. And I typed that on my phone, and she's like, oh, my sister. You're thinking of my sister. And I said, no, you, like, you're Mio Shirai. And she's like, no, my sister. And I was like, yes, Io is more famous, but like, I was still really excited to work with her and get to train under her.
It's funny you mentioned, Io Shirai. At WrestleMania, she's facing one of your countrywomen, Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
You obviously have an Australian connection yourself. Shazza McKenzie, Indy Hartwell was you're part of one of the promotions that you've worked with in Australia. Talk to me about the Aussie women wrestlers, because they're all kind of in different generations from you, but at least at some point there may have been some touchstones.
Yeah, I think I really love as well that you're specifically asking about the Australian women, because I think like Australian wrestlers are a different breed of their own, but I think Australian women especially have this sort of sense of like, I think Indy Hartwell summarized it perfectly when she was released from the WWE, and she said, I was just a little girl from Australia who wouldn't take nah for an answer. That's Australian women. I mean, that is Australian people as a whole, Australian wrestlers as a whole, but I think especially the women.
No, it's the people too. From experience, it's the people too.
It's the people too.
We love you. It's true.
Yeah, no, but I think, and that's something that like Shazza McKenzie and I have bonded over quite a lot. Like, she described it in a way to me, which I loved. She's like, every time in my career someone closed the door, I said, oh, okay, not that one. Oh, okay, not that one. Oh, okay, I can get a little bit. Oh, okay, back. And she just didn't take no for an answer, which is really inspiring to me. Like, I think it's because, not everyone is like starts wrestling and just gets it immediately. And I think that it's really easy to get discouraged from those, from like how easy it is for like an industry like this to sort of chew you up and spit you out. And I think seeing Shaz over such a long time build that career and not take no for an answer, and Indy not take no for an answer, and plenty of other women not take no for an answer, it's really cool to kind of etch my little name underneath them, and I hope one day I can live up to the legacies they have.
And before the comment section come at me, yes, I also know the Iconics are there. Yes, Harley Cameron absolutely is a part of that conversation.
Yep,
also being from Brisbane as you are.
Yeah,
So,
Tony Storm.
Tony Storm is another. I always forget because she's playing someone who has a UK accent but is actually Australian but also has ties to the UK. She's a conundrum.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another one who will heavily be on the radar very soon, Lena Cross.
Yeah, that's right. You've done some work with her.
Yeah, I did. I was really lucky just before I left for the States to wrestle her in a 3-way match with Aisha. And I think that was like, it was a really cool experience for me, especially because she has that background in Japan too. Like, there were like, there's like little cultural things like in Japan when you've wrestled for less time than someone, you go up and ask them, hey, what time do you want to plan the match? And they tell you a time and then you meet back at that time. So I kind of went up to her and was like, what time do you want to plan? And she kind of like smiled at me and I was like, oh, I hope she gets it. I hope I'm not just misinterpreting that she knew what I was doing there. So yeah.
You were talking about, I was here, the not taking no for an answer. Yeah. When we met this afternoon, I was asking you about the tryout that you did with Marvelous. And tell me about the experience, A, and B, something that you did mention was just being on someone's radar. And again, not taking no for an answer, and the idea that, closed mouths don't get fed. So let's talk about the Marvelous tryout, what didn't go right, and also like just the experience. Yeah,
I think it was a really great experience. Like, I think especially coming off, so there's kind of like a story there with where like I was in Japan, I met Vinny Massaro, and he, like I got along with him really well, and he said, if you want to come and train with us. And then I went up to West Coast, and then the Marvelous tryouts obviously through West Coast, so I kind of went in there with a few friends already, so it was really nice in that way to kind of like get to connect with those people again. But I think in terms of like wrestling and the business, it's really important. This is something like, I'm very new in my career, so I'm not trying to talk like some kind of veteran here, but in the short time I have been wrestling, I found it's really important to not go in with that expectation of like, I need to get this, or I'm a failure, or I need, like, there's such a, what's the word? Like, such a credit, I guess, in going and just jamming your toe through the door. Like, I didn't get to be the one picked, and I went in there kind of knowing that there were going to be more experienced, more qualified wrestlers than me. But, I got to go there, I got to meet Chigusa, I got to wrestle Becca, who I think is a really cool wrestler. I love what she does. Really lovely person too. I got to show some face and see Scott and Levi and say, hey, like, you guys gave me an opportunity a couple of weeks ago. Here I am still working. Like, I'm not just taking that opportunity and then being like, cool, I did it, like, and I think that's kind of how I try to look at these opportunities. It's like every little inch forward is still an inch forward, and it's better than sitting there being like, like.
I think that's one of the reasons why you and I ended up doing this today, is because you have not only been on the grind, but you have been relentless in it. That's my shameless endorsement of your work. Shamelessly also, you didn't say no to skydiving once upon a time. I've always wanted to go skydiving. Yeah. The last time that I was offered it, I was in Argentina. I was in Buenos Aires, and I had just landed the night before, and then the hostel I was staying at. We'll get to your story in a second. Sorry, I just took it over.
I'm interested. Tell me more.
It's my turn now. It's the therapy couch.
This is your podcast.
It's not. The room's been granted to us. I got woken up by a guy who was like, hey, we're going skydiving. You want to come? And I was like, I am so tired. And I think about that, and I regret it for the rest of my life. Wow. Anyway, you went skydiving.
That's so heavy. Oh my God. You can just go skydiving.
It's expensive. What are you talking about?
It's fun though.
Of course.
You got to live a little.
I know. You know what turned me on to it? I was a Megadeth fan back in the day when I was a kid.
Oh my God.
And Dave Mustaine.
Sweating bullets, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Dave used to go skydiving. Oh, maybe he still does.
True.
That was his like, I'm not on drugs anymore period. So he would go skydiving. And he was like, I got 500 jumps and now I can be a skydiving instructor, all this shit. Anyway, skydiving. Have you done it more than once? And would you keep doing it if you haven't?
I have only done it once. To talk to your point, it is very expensive. I remember the feeling though, like immediately after doing it, I was like, I want to do that again. Like I want to, but obviously it's very expensive. It's not something you can do every week, and unless you're like a multimillionaire, which maybe one day. But yeah, absolutely, I would do it again. I think it was such a unique experience. It kind of gives you the same feeling as flying off the top rope, except you might genuinely like plummet to your death, but that's cool.
It's part of the game.
It is. It's all about the game and how you play it.
Nice. We did that. Before I get to the most important questions.
Yep.
WrestleMania is coming up.
Yes.
You told me where you're going to be watching it.
Yes.
Shout out to the people at Circa. By the time this drops, it's over. You won't be able to find Marz here. It's okay. Can't stalk her. Socials, you can find her. Don't stalk her, but like follow her. We'll get to that.
Please follow me.
You will. You will. Point is, WrestleMania is coming up.
Yes.
You grew up a WWE fan.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to? What kind of keeps you interested in WWE? I don't know if you're watching AEW or even TNA at this point. Like, what gets you interested in wrestling at any time?
I love this question because I think it's like kind of evolved. Like when I first started watching wrestling, like as a kid, and when I was watching it as an adult, it was really like I was so sucked into the drama of it all. Like I love a good drama like TV show, and I loved the way that it like combined the athleticism too. Because obviously, like sports and athletics has been such a big part of my life. Like seeing people perform these stunts essentially was really cool, and getting to combine it with that. But I think over time, like the more people say when you start wrestling, you can't watch wrestling the same. It's not the same anymore. And I think that's really true. For me, I think the experience is a little different though. Like people often talk about how when you get into wrestling, you start to see wrestling on TV and you start to see he made a mistake there, or like, you know, that was that spot, or like there's the international, I know that one, I do that one in training. Like you see those things. But I think for me, it's like I've started to really, I don't follow like WWE, TNA, AEW. I follow like my friends and people that I've started to look up to, and that's what's keeping me going and watching it now. Like like Zarya, for example, she was Delta in Australia, and she just got signed in the last year, and now I literally, it was so funny actually, I can't watch it on Netflix here, and I can watch it on Netflix at home. I remember getting here and messaging like her partner and being like, feel like pure shit. I don't know if I can say that.
Can
bleep it out. There we go.
Yeah, bleep it out. It's
Perfect. Feel like pure shit. Just want to watch Zarya on the TV. Like, and it's like I used to dabble in watching NXT, but now I want to watch it because it's like someone that I know who I've met and I think is a really great person is on there, and I want to see her thrive. So that's like, it's really cool.
You just gave me a free plug for nordvpn.com/Fightful. Thank you.
Perfect.
I was on the plane over, by the way, I was able to watch NXT on the plane, and I was like flabbergasted because it used to be that you can only connect to the entertainment system, and now it's like you can use high-speed internet and watch whatever, including Netflix, because back in the day it's like, oh, if you use our Wi-Fi, no dice.
Yeah,
so I get
right.
it. Same thing with Dynamite. I wanted to watch Dynamite at 5 o'clock here on the West Coast, and I had to go onto a VPN and watch it on Triller.
Of course. Interesting.
Can't win.
You just can't win. I don't actually know anything. So like we spoke before about like working in marketing, but I actually don't know anything about VPNs, and that whole world just scares me. Like I'm like, it feels like a big uncharted territory. I don't understand how to do it. So I'm just sitting here waiting to like see the like Instagram reels of like what Zarya did on the TV this week, because I can't see it.
It works though.
I mean,
clearly you still get to keep up.
That's it. I know what's going on.
So actually that kind of brings me to a question that I was thinking about. You have a robust and active social media presence. Nowadays, it's very important for wrestlers to do that. What is your advice as you have been plugging along, stuff that like you found has worked as a wrestler to get yourself not only booked but noticed as well?
Yeah, I think I love this question because marketing is like, it's a big part of my life, even though now my like kind of central passion that I'm following is wrestling. Marketing's still huge. Like I have like a freelancing business, so I still actively work in marketing. And there's a couple of things I think are really important. Like I think a lot of people get too caught up in just the little like the details that don't matter. Like you know, is this perfect? Is this caption perfect? Am I using the right hashtags? Like just post. Just if you're someone who's like gonna get stuck on the perfectionism, just like let it all go and just start posting, because it's really important to have the volume there, and a cadence. But I also think like, and I'll quote Hartley Jackson, who is a bit of a mentor to me now. He said to me, he was like, you know, you're really good at posting the things that make you look good. Like, I can have a match and maybe it didn't all go right, but like I have a really pretty Japanese crossbody and I'll post that photo. And he's like, no one's going to look at that matchup. They're going to go to your page and see, wow, that's a really pretty crossbody. And they're going to be like, she must be a really good flyer because look at that crossbody. And someone was able to snap a photo of it. Like, so it's obviously like, you know, a thing that she does, or like she built it up enough that they were like, oh, get the phone out. So yeah, I think like play to your strengths and just don't get caught up in the things that you feel like matter, because they don't matter as much as just putting yourself out there and putting your authentic best self out.
So would you say it's presence over presentation, the other way around? Is there a balance? Do you see a difference between the two words? Like I see the cogs turning in your head.
Yeah.
This has turned into like a wrestling marketing podcast.
Yeah.
So
no, I would
have fun.
I would love to do one of those someday. But yeah, I think it's a balance between the two. Like presence is important. Presentation, this is a presentation business. Like you have to look good, you have to have nice gear, you have to, if you're a girl, you have to have like nicely done hair or something that works for your character. So presentation, like never forget that. But also I think just when I say don't get caught up in the little stuff, like a caption really doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter that much what the caption is. It does in the way of like we want to show up online authentically, and social media as a whole, like overarching, it's a social platform, so showing up as yourself is always important. But like I remember years ago, like before wrestling, I used to like stress over like, oh, like should that sentence actually be like this way? Are people gonna think that I like can't write sentences, or like my grammar's? No one cares. Like that your followers want to see you, so be you and try and put your best foot forward and try and continue to do it regularly.
Our writing team is in shambles by that statement.
I think I feel like I said a lot of things there, but yeah, it really like comes down to just being you, not getting caught up, and remembering that this is a presentation business. So when you are being you and not getting caught up, don't like forego the things that we value in wrestling.
I get you.
Yeah, I feel like that was a bit of a ramble.
No, you're good.
Okay.
That's what you're here for. That's good.
I'm here to yap.
Yeah, that's it. We're just yappers in front of a camera.
Yep.
We get to the last 3 questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
You've been stateside. You've been in California. Yep. You've been near InNOut.
Yep.
What are you ordering at InNOut?
I don't know what number it is. I think it's like a number 2. I don't know. It's like a cheeseburger, like just a normal like 1-layer cheeseburger. I went with Vinny Massaro to InNOut, and he got this like crazy like animalized like, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know I could do that, but I was still tried and true to my little cheeseburger because I think like the consistency is just perfect. After this, going to the strip, we're gonna go to the InNOut Burger, need a link, and we're gonna try it all. Oh my god, Ken, I'm actually so hungry. Can we? I am too. Perfect. I'll tell you off air about my experience this morning looking for sensibly priced food in Las Vegas. Not now. Last 2 questions. Yes. Will Lil Marz ever grow up? Oh, this is like it's a little bit of a sad one. Yeah, she will. And I think she's kind of going through the process of that now. With the way that my trajectory in my career is changing, things like Opie has to go in the storage locker, and I think as well like when I first started, I put so much of my heart and soul into that character that this is gonna get real like deep and feelsy. I'm like, this is, but like that's why we have the couch. Yeah, this is it. That's why we're not sitting anyway. I feel like like I used to speak about how Lil Marz was my inner child, and I feel like doing that really healed a part of me that needed that, and now I don't need it so much, and now I'm free to explore the ways that Lil Marz can be a serious fighter and still be her. Like a big inspiration of mine is Kylie Ray, and I think she hits the nail on the head of how you can be sweet and innocent and fun and happy and still a really good fighter. So yeah, I think like I'm finding my feet and we're growing up. Yeah. I really like that answer. I do. That's the thing. When a wrestler gives like thoughtful answers to their character and its development, I like that. Oh, I'm so glad. So I will put that out there.
put yourself out there. Who do you want to wrestle? And where do you want to go next? I know the answer is usually anyone and everywhere, blah, blah, blah. Shoot your shots. Because again, we're talking about manifesting. We're talking about foots in the door, blah, blah, blah. Feet in the door, not foots. Anyway, not important. Grammar. Shoot your shots.
Shoot my shots. Ooh, like, that's a really tough one. So, like, the big one, as I just mentioned, Kylie Rae, she's number one on the list. She knows that. I went to Chicago to meet her, to tell her that I love her. And she thought it was very sweet. So I've been, every chance I get, I tag her, or I tag, like, or I'll, like, message someone and be like, Kylie Rae. Absolutely shooting my shot there. I think in terms of outside of, like, my what do you call it? Like, it's not an end goal, but you know, like your North Star type thing, like wrestling Kylie Rae is my current North Star. But I think outside of that, like someone I really want to work with, Zara Zaka. I love the little petite powerhouse thing she does, and I think that we could have a lot of fun. She's also doing very well for herself. So I feel like the longer I know her, the more out of sight that starts to get, because she is like, girl's gonna get signed at some point by someone. Like, that's gonna happen. So that's a big one.
And where?
Ooh, and where? I want to wrestle Kylie Rae at Freelance.
Okay.
I really, because I feel like Freelance was one of the first, I think it was the first school in America I ever trained at. And I love the people there, and I feel like it's such an important part of her life as well, to kind of bring that story full circle for me and get to wrestle her at Freelance. That would be really special. Zara Zaka, ooh, that's a tough one. I think I would love to wrestle her in like a more like smaller, like I think she trains at Primal in San Diego. I'd love to wrestle her there. Like, I think on her home turf, and kind of get to experience her in her element would be really cool.
You don't want to go to Alaska?
I could go to Alaska.
Okay.
I
never really do those shows. I'm always like, I want to go to Alaska again. Yes. I've been there once upon a time. Cruise ship.
Yeah.
Long time.
Well,
most of the times.
Something I've realized, like, before I came to America, I thought that Americans just wrestled everywhere all the time. Like, I didn't really understand. I knew that there was like territories and scenes, but I thought that like it was really normal for wrestlers to have wrestled in all 50 states. It's not.
Country's a little bit bigger than you
think.
think.
It's so, because Australia is really big, but like we have such a small population that there's plenty of people who wrestle like, I mean, I actually say that, and I don't think there's actually people who have wrestled in every single state. But in terms of the states where, like, wrestling is, it's really normal to have wrestled in Perth and Adelaide and Brisbane and Sydney and Melbourne. Not to discredit Tasmania and Northern Territory, they're just more developing scenes. But in America, you guys, 50 states is a lot. And the other thing, too, is, like, it takes, even though you can drive everywhere, it takes so much longer because you're driving through towns, and you're like driving through, like actual established areas. Like in Australia, it's really like city, bushland, city. So like, it takes like 10 hours, but you're like down the highway. You can do it in a day. Whereas like America's so like not built, it's built differently. So yeah.
This conversation in America is brought to you by a Canadian and an Australian. Yeah. So if you're wondering why it's so out of place, it is.
Yep.
But also in Canada, it's very similar to Australia, where you do have long stretches of driving. Ottawa to Toronto is a 5-hour drive.
Yep.
And that's to go from C4 Wrestling, for those who know it, to Greektown Wrestling or Smash Wrestling in Toronto. There is a big drive ahead of you. And going to Montreal, you add another 2 hours going east. Right. It is about putting on the road miles and getting out there.
Yep.
Canadian, I have to ask, I mentioned him to you earlier. There is a wrestler from Love Pro Wrestling. Shout out to our friends in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. He's actually their champion, at least as of this filming.
Okay.
Oh, no, he's not. Actually, he dropped that title. Haha. He's a bad guy. He deserved it. Marz the Specialist is his name.
What's he a specialist in?
Being the name Marz.
Okay.
Actually, you'd have to ask him what he's a specialist at being.
If it's being Marz, I'd like to challenge him for that.
You want to challenge him for the name?
I think so. I feel like, I mean, like, I would be willing to share, but if he thinks he's a specialist, then I think I have to fight for my honor there.
So he's part of this team also called the Short Kings.
Okay.
And I feel like you are also you're shorter.
I'm
You're
a short
shorter
king.
side. You're a short king. It's fine. You can be whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Short queen.
Gender doesn't matter in
No,
this conversation.
yeah. I feel like the king is like, king and queen aren't a gendered thing anymore. Like, queen is like your friends, and king is like, I don't know, the top of something. I don't know. Maybe that's really. We're gonna digress from that.
Listen. I answered text with "Yes, Queen Slay" with like complete.
Yeah, I call my like
recklessness.
male friends queen and my female friends king all the time. But yeah, I could fit into the short kings.
Okay, there you go. Marz Specialist. The other Marz wants your title.
I want your title. I want my name back.
Oh my goodness, we're setting up angles and they don't even know it yet.
Excellent. There's actually, funnily enough, there is a third Marz.
Really?
Yeah, he I think it's like Nova Mars or Mars Nova or something.
It doesn't count. They're trying to be the planet.
Yeah.
If you're trying to be the big red thing in the sky, it doesn't work.
He spells it with his Z.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in Chicago. I feel like I'm butchering telling you about him right now, but yeah, it's definitely. I remember seeing his page on like. There's like a bunch of like videographers in Chicago that will film and they'll like post and tag the wrestlers and stuff. Like most places have that. But anyway, I follow a bunch of them from Chicago, and I saw it come up. It was like Nova Mars, and I was like, what? It was so jarring for me to see my own name, but it wasn't me.
Three of you are now going to be a trios.
Yeah.
By the end of this whole thing.
What should we be called?
Short Kings.
I don't think the third Mars is short.
Uh-oh.
He's like taller than me. I did meet him, but I didn't know his wrestling name was Mars when I met him.
Three Kings?
Three Kings?
Now we're just going way off because it should be something with ours.
Planetary?
Sorry, with Mars. Yeah, the planet.
The solar system?
No, because then you got to have like a Venus and a Jupiter. Like you're not Sailor Moon over here.
That's true.
I don't know. Comments. What should the trios
tell us?
The trios of Mars who have never met, who happen to be wrestlers.
Yeah.
What should their name be?
Please. And then promotions. Book it.
Speaking of promotions, put yourself over. Tell people where they can find you, where they can see you, and what you got coming up.
Where they can find me, where they can see me. Well, I guess that's a really tough question right now. Because I don't necessarily have an answer. I will be going back to Japan at some point, so I will be going there. I don't know where I'll be wrestling yet, but definitely going to go back over there and explore that scene a little bit more, maybe break free and kind of explore further than Ice Ribbon, but I won't say too much. In terms of while I'm in America, yeah, I think I've got a few dates over in California left. At home, my home promotion, Pro Wrestling League, very special place in my heart, always will be. It's the scene I'm from is a smaller scene, I would say, and I think Pro Wrestling League has been a really great platform for not only me, but several of our guys to sort of get really good quality reps on a good show with good production. They bring in guys to like help build people up. And yeah, a lot of the guys, I'm one of like three mainstays on that promotion that regularly go to Japan. And that's really cool, I think. So yeah, if you're looking for some homegrown Brisbane talent, Pro Wrestling League, Renegades of Wrestling also is another one back home. That's where Indy Hartwell is currently the champ. They do some really cool stuff, and I do go there sometimes. But yeah, it's really hard to say where I'm going to be next.
But you're here.
But I'm here.
We didn't actually talk about the match that you have coming up while you're here.
Yes.
You're facing Amira
Yes.
at Pottermania, which is like a all-women's wrestling show on the Friday. I don't know when this is going to drop at this point, but when you got that call and you knew you were doing it, what was the experience? Were you told this is who you're facing, or was it, do you want to be on this card?
Yeah, so it was kind of more the latter. I reached out to Ed from San Antonio, because I was reaching out to a few people, and I sort of was like, I want to be on your show. Shout out to Shaz McKenzie for telling me she would be on that show and telling me who the promoter was.
Perfect.
But I did do the work myself. I messaged him. I sent my resume. I got myself here. I didn't actually know who I was going to be wrestling until like well and truly after I knew I was going to be here. But I knew like the pool of talent, especially for the women here, is massive. I knew that Ed was also booking like a high quality show, so I was just really excited to be on it. And I knew whoever I got was going to be awesome. I actually met Amira today for the first time, and
nice.
Very excited to wrestle her. She seems like she's really cool.
It's going to be a fun show, and if you're able to watch it when it eventually does get released on a platform, you should absolutely. I think some of our friends are going to be on that show and around it. It's WrestleMania week. Everyone's just kind of everywhere. You have to understand it. It's just the way it is.
Yes.
I'm going to let you go. It's almost dinner time.
It
We have to go find food.
InNOut.
InNOut. Speaking of InNOut, tell the people where they can get in to find your comings and goings out. I don't know. I lost it. I'm sorry. Plug your stuff.
Plug my stuff.
Socials.
Follow my socials. Oh, yes, that one.
That's a good one to do. We just had a whole 20-minute diatribe about social media and wrestling.
Yep. Plug my socials. I always they talk about shameless self-promotion, but I'm always like,
Now's the time.
Yeah. So my Instagram is LILMZZ, Lil Marz. Follow me there. That's where I post the most. That's where you get the most unfiltered, unhinged stories. The most of my travel updates. I do have a Twitter as well, which I think is at Lil Marz Wrestler. I have a Facebook page, but I kind of neglect that. So yeah, Twitter, Instagram, follow me. I'm trying to get to 5K followers by the end of the year, so might help.
Make it happen.
Please.
You just sat here for the entirety of this interview. You know what she's capable of. She'll break your neck and put a smile on your face at the same time. And maybe bring out a little bear or a big one, depending on how you feel. But for Lil Marz, you know who I am. Mm-hmm. I just told you who she is. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Bye.
I'm traveling a lot, and when you travel, you got to protect your data. You got to protect your privacy online. NordVPN.com/Fightful allows me to do that. Allows me to browse safely and securely. When you go to an airport, when you go to an arena, a restaurant, a hotel, you're usually connecting to that unsecured Wi-Fi, which leaves you susceptible to having your data stolen, any number of things taken from your private connection, or what should be your private connection. NordVPN.com/Fightful makes it a private connection with the fastest VPN in the world, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and a ton of other features in addition to that peace of mind that you get when you can browse safely and securely. And I'm talking all your devices: Surface Pro, laptop, desktop, PC, smart TV, router, phone, whatever you're taking with you. NordVPN.com/Fightful will add extra layers of security to your digital life. You can get a password manager, a file encryption tool. Be safe, be smart. NordVPN.com/Fightful.